When I was working at Wells Fargo, there was this car that kept parking in the road. Well, it was like in the parking lot, right? So it was in the lanes in between cars. And it would be there like every single day at the same time after lunch. And so if a car was coming the opposite direction, the other car would have to wait because this car was parked in the way. And so I always told myself, if I ever see the person who is parking their car here every day, not in a parking spot, I'm going to address them kindly, but I'm going to be assertive and address them, right? So Gary Vaynerchuk is the one I feel like that coined this term kind candor because he talks about it in his book, right? So it just means being honest, but with kindness. And that was what I was unknowingly doing in this situation. So probably 3 months later, after this car has been parking there, I'm walking out to leave one day and I see this guy walking. I mean, he looked like he could be a linebacker for, the NFL. Huge guy, right? Big, tall. And he's walking to his car and then he keeps like kind of turning around looking behind him. I said, I bet that's him. I bet that's the guy that's parking there. And I told myself you're going to address him, and so then you feel all those nerves coming up, but I was like, but approach him with love, right? And I said, is that your car? And he goes, yes, it is. I said, I have been dying to meet you. And so I introduced myself and I have a smile on my face. I said, I told myself as soon as I find out who keeps parking here every day, I have to meet them. And I said, I can't remember the exact dialogue, but I was kind of playing around with him with playful questions like, so that's really cool. Like, what cool parking pass do you have to be able to park there? I wish I had one because I hate walking 2 blocks to try to find parking. And he kind of laughed and he was like, well, I put my police jacket in my front seat because most people don't bother me. And I said, oh. And I said, so that makes you special? And he kind of smiled. He was like, yeah. I said, I mean, you seem like a great guy. And I said, I'm sure your mama thinks you are very special. I said, my mom thinks I'm special too. I said, but I would love to know, why you're more special than other people or myself that have to also walk those 2 blocks. And I said, because every day I see people almost hitting your car, trying to maneuver around it. And we just had a conversation, and some people are like, oh, I would never have said that, or I wouldn't have taken that the right way. But it was all about how I approached and the energy that I brought. It wasn't necessarily the words, it was the energy. And it was so funny because I never saw him park there ever again. And we had never ran into each other prior to that. But afterwards, he would see me, flag me down, literally flag me down and said, you made me a better man and you didn't even know it. He would be in a parking space, roll down his window and start waving his arm out and say, hey, look at me. I found a parking spot. And that just tickled me pink and made my day because you can be honest with people and have that kindness attached to it, which changes everything. Everybody else is like, well, I would never have talked to him because what then? What are they going to say? We always, again, this goes back to intent and making those assumptions of people. People assume that people are going to react negatively if you approach them with kindness and candor.